welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. So this is my third video of the night, so but before I get into what I'm gonna do here, now that I've got the map cleared on the interface mod, I wanted to take time to show you and Echo One Eyes Only what his map for the TK interface overhaul should look like. And I wanted to show him Castle Volkihar. Well, there you go. I mean, that does look like I mean, just look at the detail. I mean, you can even see the mountains, the ridges. And look, there's even, I believe this is Morrowind, I want to say. Maybe Solstheim, I don't know. I don't think it's Solstheim. So yeah, Echo, this is what your map should have looked like. But like I said, even though I watched your video, I noticed nothing changed on yours, but I would say for the PlayStation 5 it's working. I mean, even the local map seems a little more detailed now. You can make out the tables, the chairs. And yes, I'm in a place called the Blood-Fanged Inn, and that's another mod I'll showcase on another day. But that's where I'm at now, but I'm not going to do that at the moment because I don't have the mod author's name. I'm not going to showcase the mod without the name. So, you can see the outside of Blood-Fanged Inn. So, what I'm gonna do in this video is, like I said, I've got some friends that I grew up with, played, no, shut up, you annoying bird. I played Dungeons and Dragons with a long time ago. Serrano, why did you just run all the way around? You're photobombing me, aren't you, at the moment, of course. Anyway, like I said, I grew up with these guys, played Dungeons and Dragons with them for years. I love these guys to death, and gals, but I guess as I sit here and think about it, I get where they're coming from, because even though I never DM'd and I never wanted to, and for those of you who never played Dungeons and Dragons and you don't know what a DM is, it's a dungeon master. A dungeon master is the one that set up the stories, they set up the plot lines, the dungeons, this, that, and the other. They give you the campaigns and the scenarios to go on as a player. They're the ones that set the rules, this, that, and the other. They dictate what goes on. Yeah, you get it. If any of you played Dungeons and Dragons online, well, the dice rolls are almost the same, not quite. But anyway, even though I wasn't the DM, the Dungeon Master, whoever was would usually come to me when they were stuck and they couldn't think of a backstory for some treasure or some weapon or some object that they were introducing in a new campaign. So lo and behold, it'd be left to me to come up with these backstories for some of these artifacts or some of these places. And I get it, I understand. I'm good. I can come up with some pretty good backstories when I want to. But the thing is I always had time to think about, research what I was going to do. Wasn't that hard with those guys. They gave me most of the information. But it was the way I told the stories that they loved to hear it, or they liked to hear it. Well, I guess I get it, but I just get annoyed when I'm rushed. Yes, I understand, guys, y'all haven't heard one of my backstories in a really long time. You're anxious to hear one, but at least give me the time to do the research, the proper research, and to come up with a proper story. And so, like I say, that's all I was asking, give me time, but you guys are in such a rush that I'm gonna have to combine, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have to combine freestyle storytelling with what I have already researched. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to make a lot of this. Not today, Dragon, not today. I suggest you go back to Echo 1. You're not gonna listen, are you? So, as I'm trying to say, as a dragon is calling from somewhere in the distance, sounds like I'm the one getting closer. As I was saying, a lot of what I'm going to tell you guys here today is a lot of freestyle storytelling mixed with some of what I've been able to learn about Elder Scrolls lore. Oy. I can already tell some people are going to like this, some people are not. Some are probably not gonna like it more than others. Oy. Alright. So, in order for me to tell this story, I gotta start with these two weapons here. These actually predate my character, Arcadia Nocturnus, whose real name is actually Arcadia Novari. And it's actually a word from Akavir, not from Skyrim. It's from, the last name Novari is actually from Akavir. It comes from a race there in Akavir called the Ka-Potan. The Ka-Potan are a race of tiger-like humanoids, kind of like the Khajiits are. Some say they might be related, but there's not enough information in the Elder Scrolls lore to confirm that. So, but there is speculation that they do share similar traits: night vision, hunt and see at night, amongst other attributes. So, the word Navari in the Caputan language means Atmoran blood born in Akavir. Yeah, you heard me right. I said Atmoran blood born in Akavir. Well, how does that happen? According to most Bethesda lore, and, well, what little Bethesda lore there is, and what fan-based lore there is, there aren't no Min or Mer in Akavir. The Sakethi? I think it's the Sakethi. I'll have to look it up, how to pronounce the name right, but it was said the Sakethi, the snake people, you know, pretty much killed off all the men of Akavir. But in the story I'm going to tell you, there were actually humans from Atmora that actually found their way to Akavir. Pardon me, I'm trying to keep the names straight, but they both start with A's, okay? So if sometime during this telling I kind of misspeak one name when I should have said another, yeah. Atmora, Akavir, yeah, they don't sound weird, but sound the same, but they both start with A's, so. Oh. Anyway. But her story starts with these two maces here. Arcadia's Fang and Arcadia's Talon. Oh, great. You know what? I'm gonna pause right here because unfortunately nature is calling and I have somebody knocking at my door, so I will be right back to finish this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this is the last time I have to pause my video. I'm kind of done with editing tonight. Just want to do this, get it over with, get it on YouTube, and be done with it. Now I am going to tell my D&D friends that since I took my little break and I thought about it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this a 2-part video. The history of the two maces is going to be part 1, and then Arcadia's backstory will be another separate video. I'm getting tired, frustrated. It's going to take an hour to upload this to YouTube anyway, so might as well go ahead and do this. Okay, so where did I leave off? Okay, so I've already explained Arcadia's last name. Oh yeah, the history of the two maces. Well, and how they're related to Morag Ball's two fingers. Well, long ago, before the race of man migrated from Atmora to Tamriel, long before the climate changed, there lived a king, an Atmoran king. Now, mind you, I'm doing this on the fly. I don't know much about the Atmoran language or the Nordic language. Alright, I'm gonna save making up names for a later date. I'm just gonna go with it, so bear with me. So, as I said, this Atmoran king, he was a wise and good king who ruled for many years. But he had one problem. His wife couldn't produce an heir. Local shaman had warned the king that Your wife cannot have any children as long as she is cursed by the Daedric Prince Morag Ball. You'll have to find some way of getting rid of this curse before you can have children with your own wife. Now, heartbroken by this news, the Atmoran King goes to the temple of Akatosh and prays to the god. He says, Akatosh, look, I'm a good king. I've always been a good king. I've been a wise king. I've always followed your laws and your teachings. I've always been kind to my people. But I have no heirs. I have no sons. I have no one to leave a legacy to other than my people. So I have nothing to do. Or, not nothing to do. I have no way of producing an heir as long as this curse is upon my wife by this Daedric Prince. So as he sat there and prayed, a voice came from the heavens. And it was the voice of Akatosh. Akatosh told him, I will lift this curse, and your wife will bear a child by you. And in time, this child will become my champion. The Atmoran King was delighted with this. Was delighted by this. He said, oh, great Akatosh, thank you. What sacrifice or offering must I make in order to, thank you for this blessing? All I require is that you teach your son right and wrong, good and evil, and the difference between the two. That's all I require. As I've said, one day your child, your son, shall become my champion. So, the curse is lifted. The Atmoran King and his wife and the Queen have a son. Life is good. But, behind the scenes, what nobody knew is that Morag Ball was not happy with the situation. What he was trying to do was he was trying to impregnate the Atmoran Queen with his own seed and produce his own offspring on Atmora, not Tamriel, sorry. Unfortunately, the chief god of all the divines, Akatosh, stepped in and prevented that. So, he schemed behind the scenes until one day he suddenly found himself in a realm that wasn't his. He wasn't in Cold Harbor. As he looked around, he saw that in the distance was a great dragon, and beneath the dragon was this human, his champion. Right then, Morag Ball realized who it was. This is the child that took the place of his seed. This was Morag Ball's chance to get his revenge. But he still wondered, how did I get here? He wondered that, but he put it in the back of his mind, because now was his chance to get his revenge. He was going to take it. And of course, Morag Ball is going to take it in the most dumbest way possible. Well, as he tried to sneak up to the human champion, he came up with an idea that he's going to kidnap him. He's going to kidnap him, take him back to his realm, and he's going to torture him and brainwash him and make him his champion. The way it should have been from the very beginning. His child should be the one that should have been born, and his child should have been his champion in the world of men. But thanks to Akatosh, that didn't happen. So, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, Morag Ball sprang out of nowhere and attempted to kidnap Akatosh's champion right there in front of Akatosh. Well, before you know it, Akatosh transforms into the great warrior, wielding a great battle axe, and swings at swings it at Morag Ball. Morag Ball dodges and goes to put his hand up to block the dodge, but instead of it blocking it, Akatosh ends up cutting off two of Morag Ball's fingers from one of his hands. And when Morag Ball went to pick up his fingers, the great claw of a dragon smashed down on top of him. Morag Ball looked up and saw the great dragon Akatosh looking at him. And Akatosh told him, "These are not yours anymore. These now belong to me. Now leave my realm and never return. And oh, by the way, you're lucky you're only leaving here with 2 bloody stumps." So Morag Ball left Akatosh's realm, brooding over his injuries and already plotting for revenge. Akatosh took Morag Ball's fingers and stripped the flesh from him and handed the bones to his 2 champions. Handed the 2 bones to his champion, and said, "Take these to the best smith in all the world, and have them craft 2 maces with these. For I have plans for these weapons in the near future. These will belong to another champion that will one day wield them against Morag Ball." So the Atmorian champion took him all the blacksmiths in Atmora. He even traveled, it is said that he even traveled to Tamriel in the Skyrim, even to the Great Skyforge. Nothing could melt the bones and forge them into weapons of any kind. Oh, the Atmorian champion set sail east across the sea again, till he come across another land, thousands of islands, jungles, forests. He come across a people that lived underground. These people, whose descendants live in Tamriel, or did until they mysteriously disappeared. Now, let me pause the story right here for a second, because I can do this, because if you actually read Elder Scrolls lore that's from Bethesda, there's very little information on where the Dwemer actually came from. So, I've read stories where fans have theorized in different places where they originated. I think I've read 1 or 2 where they may have originated from Akavir. So, let's just say, for the sake that, who knows? They could have originated from Akavir. So that's where I'm going with that. Alright? There's that little bit of wiggle room with not knowing where they originated from that I can use to create a backstory even for them. Even though it's fan fiction, hey, no, it's one theory. Ask me, I think it's a good theory. Anyway, this champion comes to a mysterious land known as Akavir, known as the Land of the Dragons, or the Dragon Lands, and comes upon a people known as the Dwemer. He brings the bones of Morag Ball to the Dwemer, and he tells him what the great god Akatosh has, commanded him to do. The Dwemer said, "Yes, we can smelt these bones into the maces your god requires. Mind you, they may not look graceful and may not look elegant, but we can do our best." So the Dwemer took the bones and they fashioned them into 2, unfortunately, grotesque maces, and gave them back to the champion. While the champion was waiting for the maces to be forged, he created a temple to Akatosh, or a little shrine to Akatosh, close to the Dwemer settlement. And when he received the grotesque mace, he took them before the shrine, and he knelt before it and said, "O Akatosh, I've gone before all the blacksmiths in all the world, even those of these people called the Dwemer, and this is the best they can do. Not even they could forge these into the most elegant weapons the world has ever seen." And then a voice came and said, with a small snicker of a laugh, said, "It is all right, my champion. I never expected these weapons to be elegant. I knew from the beginning they would be warped and twisted and grotesque, for they are made from the bones of a Daedric prince. They were never meant to be elegant. These maces are to be the weapons of a champion who will come in the future, and she will wield these against the forces of Morag Ball here in this land that you are now in. I now command you to give them back to the Dwemer and have them hold them until the time that I have foreseen, which is not for thousands of years. For now you shall return to Atmora for the time of your people. The time for your people to make a great journey to Tamriel is almost upon them. The land of Atmora will one day no longer be fit for the race of men. So you must prepare for future generations to travel elsewhere." And so the champion gave the Dwemer the maces to hold on to and to protect until the day when Akatosh's champion would be born. Champion said he did not know when they would be born, only that the Dwemer would know her when they saw her. And yes, the champion emphasized that the Akatosh did say that the child would be a human girl. And so the Dwemer took the maces and they held them for at least 2,000 years during the first half of the First Era. Well, no, let me back up. I'm going to say at least they held on to them until at least the last 4,000 years of the Merethic era, leading into the First Era, when the champion would be born. And so, to this day, or till the chosen day, the Dwemer held on to the maces until Arcadia was born. Now, I'm going to stop there. That's the history of the maces, their backstory. And actually, the grotesque creations from the bones of Morag Ball that were cut off by Akatosh himself. So now you see, some of this is kind of lore. Some of it is made up, yes. Some of it I use speculation because it's there. I mean, nobody really knows where the Dwemer come from. They don't know where they originate. That's why I went this way in this story with this for you guys, because it makes sense. Also, I'll give you a little spoiler. When the Dwemer of Tamriel mysteriously disappeared, the Dwemer of Akavir stayed behind, and they're still in Akavir to this day. Only they stay hidden, they stay under their mountains, and they let the Sekethi, the Sexies, the Saces. That is how you pronounce it, the Saces. Damn it. They're the snake people, the vampiric snake people. Oh, and Scotty Too Hottie? I call you that, and you're not even that hot. Scotty Not So Hottie, damn it. I've got some mind-blowing information on part 2 on Arcadia's history. Me and you got into a little argument about there being no humans in Akavir because of the Saces. Yeah, well, there's still some wiggle room where I can wiggle around that, Oh yeah, and I will say this. You have a mod on your PC, Skyrim, that actually kind of confirms, and I get a little bit of the history for my story, for Arcadia's backstory from. You know which one I'm talking about. It's the Serana add-on dialogue mod. The one that adds dialogue to the main NPC characters of the game. And yes, this is an official mod release, I think, from Bethesda, or at least a mod auditor working for Bethesda, because it uses the actual voice actors from the vanilla game. It gives Parthenax new dialogue, it gives Serana new dialogue, it gives Ulfric new dialogue, General Tullius new dialogue, gives Angmar the Greybeard new dialogue. So yes, and there is a part in that of the Serana dialogue, part of her new dialogue, Scotty Not So Hottie, she does sit there and explain to the Dragonborn that she did hear a story of a vampire from Akavir who did not feed on mortals and sided with humans against her own kind. So, with that being said, and it being from the actual voice actors, so it had to be from an actual script by Bethesda for him to do that. So, I'm gonna say that's actual lore, Scotty Not So Hottie. That's actual Skyrim lore right there. So, Bethesda just gave you a little hint that not all the humans in Akavir may be gone, and that there may be a champion that still defends them to this day. Scotty Not So Hottie, and her name just might be Arcadia Nocturnus. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I was nervous doing this because normally I would not do this in front of such a large audience. I know it's going on YouTube, and I know I don't get that many views for some of my videos. I know this, but it was nerve-wracking to do for me, because normally I would only do this in a Dungeons and Dragons session. So there's some of the history and the lore behind two of Arcadia's relics. Arcadia's Judgment I don't have lore for yet. I'm working on that one. But as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna of course a dragon's gonna attack and you're gonna mine for iron ore. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, these dragon attacks are getting annoying, Echo. I thought putting the last one in a coma would have taught him a lesson. I guess not. Anyway, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it right there. I'm probably gone on over 30 minutes for this, just to combine both videos. Lady, you're making weird noises over there. Anyway, this is part 1 of Arcadia's legend. I will finish up with part 2 on the next video. Whether that be tomorrow, or whether that be the next day. Because I'm going to work on it a little bit before I record the video and post it on YouTube. With that being said, I've got to go kill a dragon. I will see you on the next episode. Peace, guys.